Hello lovely viewers, and let me welcome you to Adaptation, the ultimate vlog for film adaptations and the original material they're based on. My name's Jennifer Dick, and this week's vlog is yet another one of our list videos, which I know you're positively thrilled about. Yes! In a previous vlog, we listed our host choices for top 5 memorable quotes from adaptations, meaning memorable in a good way. For today's vlog, however, I will now be listing the memorable quotes that we here at Adaptation genuinely wish that we could forget. Whether it's the line itself, how it was written, or simply how it was delivered. These are the quotes that made us scream, cry, cringe, etc., etc. You name a bad reaction, we had it. So without further ado, the first quote to be mentioned is one that shouldn't surprise anyone at all. I am, of course, referring to the now infamous line spoken by Dumbledore in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I'm sorry, did I say spoken? Shouted is a more accurate description to how this line was delivered in the movie. Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? Which is completely opposite to how it is in the book. Seriously, this line was a huge disappointment. Not only for us Potterheads here at Adaptation, but also for the entire Harry Potter fandom at large. And that is an epic fail! I'm sure I'm not the only one who wishes that they could completely wipe this line from their memory. Oblivion! Sticking with yet another major franchise film, another real groaner of a quote was from The Hobbit Battle of the Five Armies, when Tauriel asked Thranduil at the end of the movie, "Why does it hurt so much?" Referring, of course, to Killy's death. His response? Because it was real. Huh? First of all, this line screams cheesy. If you were to look up the word cheesy in the dictionary, you'd likely find a screenshot of this scene. And secondly, they'd known each other for less than a week, and you want us to buy that their love was real? I call Romeo and Juliet shenanigans here. But speaking of classic romantic tales, the next adaptation on this list for worst memorable quotes was the 2005 version of Pride and Prejudice starring Keira Knightley. I should actually specify that it's the American version of this film that made our list, as the British version cut the entire last scene. And of course, this was the scene with the offending dialogue. This is the section of the film where Elizabeth tells Darcy, "You're only allowed to call me Mrs. Darcy when you are utterly incandescently happy." At which point, Darcy says, "Mrs. Darcy," and kisses her. Mrs. Darcy. Mrs. Darcy. Blech. Seriously, Hollywood? This scene is so cloyingly sweet, I get cavities just from watching it. Mrs. Don't you dare make me hit you. Moving on to yet another popular film series, Twilight has also managed to gain a spot on this list. Again, this shouldn't really be surprising considering the quality of these films in general. Personally, I'm shocked that we overlooked Twilight when we polled for worst adaptation scripts. We are shamefaced. But in these films, there's one interchange that just begs to be mocked more than anything else. What is this, you ask? Say it out loud. A vampire. Do I even need to explain this choice? This dialogue has already been parodied so many times. I've seen Edward become Santa Claus, a fairy, an ice cream cake, you name it, it's happened. The jokes practically write themselves. And finally, we're going big for the last quote, which is from Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Again, this film has quite a few clunker lines that we could mention, but the one that most springs to mind here is Obi-Wan's statement to Anakin, "Only a Sith deals in absolutes," which is itself an absolute. Basically, this line was just really clumsy script writing, which kinda makes it funny, but it's not supposed to be. And thus we've reached the end of our list for memorable quotes we'd give anything to forget. As always, please let us know if you have anything to add to our choices or any comments to make on the ones that we've mentioned. Don't forget to check out the links for our other social media sites in the description, and we hope that you'll give our podcast on iTunes a listen as well. We hope you'll tune in next Saturday for our next vlog, and until then, say it out loud. The end?